A lot of y'all don't have an asset that you can charge for. Just being a rapper who dresses cool is not something that's gonna make the venue or promoter money. Hey man, if you've got questions, I got answers. Welcome to the Wavy Way Q&A. What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyWayne.com. And by now, you should know that this channel is all about helping you to record and mix better and faster. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, drop down in the comments and say, Wavy, what up, B? Now, I know I asked you for a lot, but don't I give y'all a lot? Today's video, man, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Yesterday, I went over to my Instagram and I basically made a post of my story saying, hey man, I know you got questions. I want to answer y'all questions. So I'm gonna get in the studio tomorrow and do a frequently asked questions video. That's what we're here to do today. And oh man, y'all really showed up with these questions. We're just gonna jump right into it, man. I'm gonna pick some of my favorite questions that were answered on my Instagram page. If you're not following me yet and you wanna be a part of this, make sure that you go ahead right now on Instagram real quick, pull your phone out and look up Wayne.wav, just like the channel name on this YouTube page, and find me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, comment on something and say, Wavy, what's up? And I love you forever. And not to mention that, man, you'll get to participate in all kind of stuff that I have going on Instagram as well. So let's just go ahead and get into these questions. So the first question comes from somebody called Star of Soul. And Star of Soul has a great question for us today. The question is, who has better audio quality, Ableton, FL, or Logic? Now that's a great question. Honestly, I'm gonna flip that question up because I've never used Ableton. I'm just now getting my feet wet with FL and Logic. I have some extensive experience with Logic, but I'm gonna say my question is, who has the better audio quality, Pro Tools, Logic, or Luna? So I'm changing your question up a little bit. And basically, from what I've experienced so far, yes, a DAW does have a different sound. Every one of these DAWs just has a different sound. Whether if you load up a instrumental in one DAW to another one, it's gonna sound slightly different because of the algorithms and the processing that each one of these software manufacturers use. Now, who has the best sound? To me, honestly, Pro Tools is gonna be at the bottom of the list, as it's the most sterile, coldest sound that I've found in any DAW thus far out of all the professional ones. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because Pro Tools is basically a blank template. It's a blank canvas that you can paint your own picture on. So though Pro Tools I found is to be the most cold and most sterile, there are so many other benefits to working with Pro Tools. So if we come up from there, and I'm thinking about this as like, if I was working with a piece of, let's just say a piece of wood, man, that has some edges, a couple of thorns and splinters in it, right? So Pro Tools is that kind of rough piece of wood where it got those edges and thorns, right? Now Logic has been smoothed out a little bit, right? So where some of that harshness and coldness has been smoothed out, I would say with like a medium grit sandpaper, all right? So things just sound a little bit more warm and a little more lush naturally in Logic. Now, for my Luna users out there, my experience with Luna is that Luna has been sanded over with a fine grit sandpaper. So Luna, so far, in my experience, has like the smoothest, warmest sound out of the three DAWs that we just mentioned. So that doesn't mean that either one is better or worse. Remember that the tools that you choose to use are based on what is going to be easy and the most comfortable for you to get the sound that you ultimately want, and be able to actually stop thinking about those tools so much and think about the creative process, man. So whatever allows you to get out of thinking about the tools and thinking about your creative process, that's going to be the best DAW to use. All right, so we have another question from Julian Rodriguez 41. Julian asks, what are your thoughts on the Softube Console Mark II? Man, for one, my thoughts are, I would love to have one. If you look on my studio desk, you see I don't really have that Softube console, but I hear so far from one of my Wavy Steels Elite, Wink, he recently purchased one and has been using it. He loves it. He loves the tactile feel, loves to be able to get his hands on knobs, loves how things are kind of automatically mapped to the different plugins, and that you can use them with Softube plugins and universal audio plugins from what I was told. It's great, man. And being able to kind of grab two knobs at once and really get tactical allows you to mix more with your ears and not so much with your eyes. When we're always looking at plugins on the screen, we're typically kind of looking at numbers and meters and all this stuff so much, whereas, you know, sometimes you just need to close your eyes and turn the dial until it sounds right. iMelton_16 has another great question. When is the right time to go analog? When is it not a right time to go analog, man? Let's just go ahead and trace our steps back. The right time to go analog could be anytime that you feel you want to have some more enhancement and increase the saturation in your mixes. Now, in the digital realm, there are a lot of saturation tools, right? But to me, the thing about working in analog is that it presents the imperfection factor. Like I was kind of talking about on the first question with Pro Tools is so sterile, so clean. Everything that you put in there is just perfect. And that's not what our ears want to hear. That's not comfortable to listen to. So by adding that analog flavor in, you get a little taste of imperfection, a little taste of randomness, a little bit of, I'm not sure what's gonna come out the other side of this machine, and that adds to the excitement when you're running your signals through transformers and tubes and hardware analog processors that you might be using. So really, I think there's no bad time or good time to go analog. It's just another tool in the arsenal. Yeah, some people are going the reverse. A lot of engineers like Michael Brower, for example, is switching from his whole huge analog setup and doing everything in the box now. Me, I'm kind of going the opposite route. I've done stuff so much in the box to where I want to experience some of the analog flavor. There's no wrong way to approach it, as long as you're getting the sound that you want. So this next question is a great question. It was asked by Waves Ballin', all right? He asked, will getting a recording arts degree help find a job as a sound engineer? Absolutely not. Now, I don't think that, you know, getting a degree or going to a school is necessarily the factor that's going to help you find a job in the industry. What's going to help you find a job is taking advantage of being around those instructors who work in the industry if you're at a school like that. Taking advantage of different opportunities and contests that they might be having at the school if they have that, and also just the networking with your other classmates, right? I'm a Full Sail graduate, Full Sail alumni. I love what I learned from Full Sail, but honestly, they didn't help me get a job. They didn't help me get an internship. There were different factors available, different resources available to help me get a job and do job placement and maybe get an internship. But I was so self-driven that I kind of started that whole journey by myself well before I even graduated. So I would say don't wait on anything. Don't wait for a piece of paper to define you. When you walk into a studio, nobody's gonna really be asking you what your degree is in or you know, what school did you go to or for engineering. What we want to see is your skills. Now, something that can set you apart and help you get a job is a certification in software. So like a Pro Tools certification, and I have my Pro Tools certification course coming up so soon that you don't want to miss it. But that's going to be out soon. But actually having a certification in the software, it really proves actually that you know that software. And that's a great thing to begin with. That's a great foot in the door, is that, hey, I can at least trust you to do basic things inside this software. And that is a great way to get your foot in the door. Just having a degree, I don't think that's going to really cut it, because there's probably 1,000 other people who graduated at the same time as you with that same degree. All right, this next question is a little fun question, man. This came from my homie ColdMine314. Shout out to you, ColdMine. But ColdMine says, not music or audio related, I just want to know, what is your favorite pair of Jordans you own? Now, I own a lot of shoes, man. I have shoes stacked up all against my wall in boxes. Some of them, most of them actually, I've never even worn just because I only got 2 pair of feet and I don't really be going nowhere. I'll be like, man, these shoes I need to save, you feel me? But honestly, I think my favorite pair of Jordans are gonna be my Royal Toe Jordan 1s. I have a couple pair of those and I got a pair sitting on ice right now. They've been on ice for over a year. So I'm just waiting on the right time to bring those out. That's a good question, Coleman. Okay, so another great question is coming from Mikey Lundy. He asks, how did you get started? I know this is broad, but I'm curious how you got into the field after Full Sail. So that kind of goes to what I was saying earlier, right? While I was at Full Sail, I was intentional about where I wanted to go after. So I was making plans well in advance. So I knew I wanted to go into a market like New York City or Atlanta. And I ended up going with New York City because I wanted to expand into doing more than just hip hop. I wanted to actually work with big bands and other types of artists, pop artists and all types of things. And I knew New York just had a little bit of everything. So what I did, I found the most popular studio in New York at the time, Quad Studios. I started to reach out. I sent my resume early, like midway through my Full Sail career. I built a relationship with that studio manager there, told them I was interested in an internship and, you know, followed up, just stayed in contact, stayed following up. After all of that, you know, once I did finally graduate and I got my internship, I excelled by working harder, not being afraid to let people see me work, by not being afraid to do the grunt work, by not being afraid to, you know, stay up all night or risk and make sacrifices for things that were temporary for what I ultimately wanted, man. So you really just gotta set a goal, find a pathway to reaching that goal, and don't let any other distractions stop you along the way, because trust me, they will come. And in this field that we're in of audio engineering, especially at the high level, is very competitive. And the thing that can set you apart is your work ethic, man. That's as simple as possible. Once people see that you are a hard worker, they will gravitate to that. They will want you to be a part of their projects, want you to be a part of the team, because people want to move things forward. So if you're lackadaisical about, you know, what you're doing, that's gonna also be seen, and that's gonna be a turnoff. So the next question is coming from Ty Rizzle. This is a good question. How do you find venues to perform that will pay you? Well, first of all, to get paid, you need to be bringing fans in, right? Venues want to be aligned with artists who are going to pack the house, right? A lot of times you can throw your own event if you have a fan base. So if you want to get paid, you need to be in the spirit of selling tickets. You need to be in the spirit of marketing yourself and in the spirit of staying in constant tight communication with your fan base and making sure that they support you and that they will come out to these events, right? Now, how do you do that? By just being a high value artist, being true and honest with your audience, so that they feel a real connection with you. And when that you have an event, when you have a show, they are gonna come out. A lot of times, I will run into artists who just feel for some reason they don't have to sell tickets for a show, or they don't have to hustle and promote and post their stuff every single day. They think that they have a cool song and that everybody else should just love them for some reason, man. But you gotta remember, there's a million artists out here with cool songs. You really have to grind and go hard. And nobody's gonna pay you if you're not bringing people into the venue, right? So if I own a venue or I'm a promoter, my goal is to make money at that venue. I want people to come in and have drinks at the bar, I want people buying tickets at the door. Now, if you can guarantee that people are gonna be coming in, then that's how you're gonna get paid. So you can start by building a track record for yourself. Do some shows for free. Get 100 people in the door, get 50 people in the door for free, right? Get people to follow what you're doing, and then you add that to your resume. Look, I just did a show last week where we got 100 people in the door, right? And then once you start getting these numbers about yourself, then you can go and negotiate with venues and promoters about getting paid, because now you actually have an asset. A lot of y'all don't have an asset that you can charge for. Just being a rapper who dresses cool is not something that's gonna make the venue or promoter money. So, but packing that house will. So you need to figure out how you can actually get your fans to come out and engage with you on these live performances, and that's how you can lead your way into getting paid, all right? Another way is to throw your own shows. You'll be surprised how cheap and affordable it is, especially right now, to rent out a venue yourself, promote your own show yourself, sell the tickets yourself, and pay yourself, all right? That's another way, and that's something that I recommend that you might look into. We got a lot of questions, by the way, man. A lot of questions. I ain't gonna go through them all because this video is already getting long, but I love these questions. I might need to just go ahead and make a part 2 for this video if it gets too long. Let's see, let me go back, because I don't wanna miss anything that's good. Now, some of y'all got great questions, but obviously I just can't answer them all, so I'm just kind of going through and picking some of my favorite. Here's a great question. OMK_Shug asks, is a microphone preamp really needed or just a interface is okay? That's a great question, okay? One thing you need to consider is that the preamp, most interfaces, I should say, already have a preamp built in, okay? So that's just right there. Now, the quality of that preamp is gonna be determined by the components of the interface in there. So sometimes, depending on how much, you might have got a little $50 interface, the preamp probably isn't that great inside of that interface. Now, in the higher quality interfaces, we'll have cleaner, nicer preamps. But the thing is, preamps are kind of like, let's see, if microphones are like, it's just so hard to explain in an analogy. I was just gonna say, preamps have different flavors as well. They pair with different microphones. So you may have a microphone that works great with one preamp, but some microphones and some material that you want to capture may call for a different type of preamp. Like every single preamp has a different sound. It's going to add a different characteristic to the microphone signal that's coming through it. So with that being known, that's why you intentionally I have multiple preamps. I have the Shadow Hills preamps. I have my Heritage Audio 73s. I have my ISA preamps. I have the Apollo preamps. So depending on what the sound is that I'm going for, choices, right, allow you to be more creative and not be bound. So having external preamps, like a great one that you can get is like an ISA1, the Focusrite ISA1. It's a great preamp. Somewhere to start with that will hands down be better than most interface preamps that you're going to be working with, and it's going to just give you a better overall recording experience. So yes, preamps are definitely needed. When you're starting out though, using the preamp built into your interface is just fine, especially the Universal Audio, Unison preamps and stuff like that. They're just so clean and good that a lot of times I'll just rock with those by themselves. All right, so GS The Dream has 2 questions actually. One of them was, favorite DAW besides Pro Tools? Luna, easy. The next one is gonna be, how do you balance everything? If you ever seen somebody balancing something, you'll know that balancing is a constant, it takes constant effort. It takes constant work, right? It's not something that you just like, you stack it up and now it's balancing, right? So if I'm like gonna balance some balls or something on my head, I'm gonna constantly have to be leaning to the left, leaning to the right to catch the flow, right? So it's that, right? It takes effort, it takes constant attention, it's daily, right? So that's how. Sometimes everything falls, you guys just pick it up, put it back on, and start balancing again, man. But there's really no easy answer to that besides you just have to do it. If everything drops off, stack it back up and start all over again. Nico Beats has another great question. Why don't you work on mixing/mastering hip hop course? That's a great question. I'm actually working on those courses. So I have 2 courses coming out. One is my Pro Tools certification course that'll get you certified as a Pro Tools user. My other course is hip hop. It's actually called a Home Studio Pro course, which is gonna teach you everything you need to know about being a professional in a home studio setting. So be on the lookout for both of those. Matter of fact, drop down in the description below to sign up, just to let me know that you're interested, man. And the more people that I get that are interested in those courses, the faster I'll get them out. So hit that link down in the description and just say, yeah, Wavy, we interested. All right, so we're just gonna go with one more question here. And this question is Produced by 6 Milli. Produced by 6 Milli says, what's your favorite piece of analog equipment in your arsenal? Man, that is a hard one, but it's also an easy one, man. I'm gonna go with my Heritage Audio 73 Juniors. The reason being is that lately I've been basically processing my whole mix, running my whole mix through those 73 Juniors, using the outputs, the stereo outputs of my Neve, going through the 73 Juniors before returning back to my print channel in my Session and Pro Tools. And wow, it just adds such a dynamic, a depth of field, adds some widening, character, saturation. It really just brings mixes to life. Like, once I take the 73s out after listening to them, everything just falls flat as a pancake. So that's one thing that I have really been enjoying, is running my mixes through the 73 Juniors, is bringing them all to life and just instantly making everything feel like a record. All right, y'all, so that's about half of the questions that I actually received. If you want to dive into this even more and you really want me to do a part 2, drop down in the comments and let me know that you watched this video to the end and you ready for part 2, man, because I got even more questions. Don't forget that if you want to get your question answered too, follow me on Instagram at Wayne.wav. And the next time I post up something like this, you can answer and reply, and I'll get right to your question as well. Check out WavyWayne.com and grab you a pair of Wavy One Studio headphones. And also, you can download my recording and mixing templates that's gonna help you to record and mix better and faster. And after you get them sessions recorded, you can also hit me up for mixing. Yeah, and we can collaborate to make your next mix a hit, all right? I'll see y'all next time. Be dope.